Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Witcher Season 4. I'm very excited about this session, and you'll know why in an hour. But in the meanwhile, you have to sit there bored, wondering, why are you bringing it up now? It's an hour away. How's everybody's morning going?
Shit.
Oh, okay.
I managed to wake up in time, which is surprising.
All right. Bastion?
I got a new app on my phone that wakes me up really good by making me do math.
Oh, I'm not even joking. So I have an iPhone now, but before when I had my Android, I had to do that. And the problem was it's such simple math that my brain just got used to doing it and it stopped working.
This is like there's a slider, so if it gets too easy, you could just turn it up.
Ooh,
so
I
I
got
can
even better.
Turn on the hard math.
Because
it also the alarm every 30 seconds gets louder, so I really gotta try and force my way through it. So I've got this loud noise blaring as I'm doing the math too. Really wakes you up.
That does sound like it would. When I had that before, and this might be the same app but just upgraded, or maybe a different one. But when I did that before, it actually also had an option where you could. My brain's not working. I'm sorry. Where you could, instead of doing math, it had like shapes or colors or something like that as well. It's been a while.
Yeah, there are a few things. Like, there's also one of the features that I think might be new to the app that I'm using at the very least is you can take a picture of something and then you have to try and recreate that picture every time you wake up. So, like, let's say you take a picture of your door. You have to wake up, get up out of bed, walk over to your door, take a picture on your phone for it to stop.
That's intense.
I'm not doing that. I'm sticking with math for now.
I don't even know if I can handle that. Like that's too much for me.
Me too.
That's the next level. That's the next level. I really want to wake up.
I would get really frustrated if like the lighting was off and it didn't pick up the picture. I would be so annoyed.
Yeah, it'd be like throwing your phone. That's funny. All right. So anyways, back to the game. That's funny. Back to the game. So we are there we go. And just so you guys know, you actually received a Witcher sense during the our little opening there. So with that, if you want to add that to your little pool, which you have over in Roll20 as a reminder, and Witcher sense, just so everybody knows, is kind of like a party pool of D6s. So when they make a check after they roll a D20 roll, they're welcome to add that to their D20 result in hopes that makes it a little bit more likely for them to succeed. All right, so last session when we were playing, there was a... So last session when we were playing, you guys made your way into another town. There was a little bit of finish up the conversation before. You got some crappy daggers. Found out a little bit more about each other. Bastion, there was an attempted assassination on Bastion because of his, we're going to say, transgressions or escapades in the town that you were at prior. And then you had to make your way out of there, traveling through like a mountainous pass. Bumped into a few travelers on the road. Found out there might be some sort of draconid creature that existed over here, a basilisk, and made your way to the town where that took place, where that creature was. In the town, you saw that there's a whole bunch of like forges and whatnot that exist. There's people that have almost like a competition going for the basilisk itself. Found a few more posters, including another wanted poster of Bran. Now, where we left off, you guys were about to split up to go speak to potentially two different shops. One of you was heading to one of the wealthiest shops to see what kind of support they were willing to give you in the hunting of this basilisk. One of you was going to one of the poorer shops, maybe just this bar right here because it's a small hole-in-the-wall kind of bar. And then lastly, Bran was going to speak to the local guard to
you're mixing it up.
Bran
again.
was going expensive, Bastion was going to cheap, and Leonard was going to local guard. I'm sorry, I thought that was the plan. I mixed up who, but
no,
not the people.
I don't feel like turning myself in quite yet.
Okay. It's not necessarily. It might not be the guard that's hunting you. So, anyways, you guys are starting to split up. So, just to see who it is that we're gonna follow, why don't you all roll me a D20 real quick, and we're gonna go with the person that's in the middle first, because why follow rules?
Sure. And did you add that Witcher sense, or do you want me to do it?
Oh,
I've
if
done
you
it.
guys,
It's
yeah,
fine.
there you go. Perfect. Oh, and low. So we're gonna have Bastion going first.
Yeah.
Bastion's actually already here, so it makes sense because while the other two are heading out and they might give each other a nice bro hug goodbye, Bastion's gonna stay right here, pull up his chair, and call over a barmaid. So Bastion, as the other two are walking out of the bar, who is it that you look to speak to?
So I've already spoken. Have I spoken to both barmaids? Or I only talked to the one?
Only that one.
Okay. I'll probably call to the other one because I don't feel like fighting it out with that man right now.
Sure. So you call to the other barmaid to come over, and she does, like, because it's busy for her at the moment. It's not like it's one of those crazy places you've been to, but there's only 2 of them here, and people are a little demanding. So after like a minute or so, she comes over, and she's like, "What can I get for you?"
Excuse me. I was wondering. I was wondering if you are still interested in sponsoring more adventurers to take on this basilisk.
She sits down across and she like pulls the chair out a little bit and plops herself down on it. She's like, "Oh, yeah, all right. So, what you bringing?"
Well, I have 2 other party members. They are not
Oh,
at this
you're
moment.
a witcher.
That's true. I am.
And she's just now like looking at you and like taking in the sight of you and realizes what you are. She's like, I took you for an old man.
Excuse me.
All I saw was the white hair from across the way. Excuse me. So
Okay,
so you're a
fair
witcher
enough.
and you got 2 with you.
Yes. Another is actually a witcher as well. And I was wondering what you would be able to provide us, and what the prize pool would be like. Currently weighing our options at this moment.
Well, let's see. If you're signing on with us, if you succeed, you'll be able to drink here for as long as you want to stay. You leave
That's
town
fine.
generally, right?
Yeah.
right.
Sometimes.
That part will be negotiable. Let's see. The pot that we put into it, we put in 25 crowns into the pot, so we're expecting 100 back. And yeah, that's what we're looking for that part. But more importantly, we're gonna get a painting put up with you with the basilisk's head.
That does sound nice.
So you have to bring it back so we can get a painting done. And there's a local artist near here, and we're gonna have to put it up in the bar. And she like gestures over towards a portion of the wall that's like at a very obvious spot that's clearly been cleared off at some point in time because it's just a big and barren spot on the wall.
And would we be able to include the other 2 party members? It's fine if we don't, as long as I'm in it. But they might want to be in it.
They're
as
hunting
well.
as well, right?
Yeah.
Then yes.
All right. I will talk to them about it and see, find out their opinion, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.
She nods and she says, "Well, if you're gonna do it, you got a little bit of paperwork to do. In the meanwhile," and she like with the pitcher that she's holding of beer that she's had with her for a while, so it's warmer than the usual cellar cool, and she just like fills her mug back up and gets up and walks away. I imagine it was only about half empty, but she brings it to the brim.
Very appreciative.
And she gets up and walks away. Going to Leonard next. Sorry, my apologies. To Bran next. Bran, what kind of establishment that you were looking for?
I'd probably be asking around for some of the more high-end, like, destinations and shops on the streets. I'd be looking at like the size of the building and like the decorations and stuff to try and figure out like which place would be the wealthiest and would have the best gear to support a pair of witchers.
So the you go walking around and asking about, could you do me a favor and roll me a persuasion to see what you can kind of like dig up. Are you kidding me right now? Oh no!
Let's go.
Oh no! Oh my god! This is so rough.
Poggers chat.
You had him roll, man. You had him roll.
If this is gonna be like this entire session, tonight is gonna be the worst. And we're doing the dark side campaign. You guys realize you steal all the RNG on Wednesdays, and like we just fail all night long.
Well,
I'm excited.
it's your own fault, you stupid.
You literally threw people out into space, not me.
No. That was circumstance, and we're gonna move on now.
So
So,
this is weird in Witcher world.
so you guys are sorry, I just got that. So you guys are actually so you're walking around and asking people like where might be the best place, where might you get the best support for a Witcher, and that's actually when you come to realize there are two places that really stand out, and then a third like option. So the first one that stands out is there is a tavern that is, when you first pull up into the town, is where they have like their big tavern, so like their flagship. When you first get to town, it's right next to where people would stay with their horses. It's right as people are walking by, so on and so forth. It has like a beautiful sign. It's well decorated outside, and they always have at least one like absolutely stunning and I'm gonna say well dressed wench outside to like, hey, you want a beer? Get in here. You know what I mean? Something that like really pulls people into the establishment, and they do extremely well for themselves. And people are like, oh, they're always looking to be the cream of the crop in the town, and so they really want to pull people in. And that same exact business actually has like an auxiliary location right around the north exit of the town, the one that would lead like into the mountains. That's where they have like their smaller business, but it's like the same owners. And so like that establishment is what's going to pull you in, and it's called the Full Purse is the name of the place. And it's literally like the sign is like a sack of coins that's overspilling with coin. The second place that they suggest you go to is there's actually, he doesn't own any businesses, but there's a nobleman that lives in the town that, once again, it's the idea that he always likes to have like bragging rights. He always likes to have the idea of being the one that's in charge, and always likes to be the one that's always talked about. So he is another person that would like to find the right group to support. For him, he's only going to support one group, and he hasn't picked the right one yet. And then the third and final option, one that might be a bit harder, is actually the weapons shop, the very nice one that you guys went into beforehand. They, until this point, have abstained from the betting and whatnot going on. They haven't given a shit about it. So they would require a little bit of convincing. But they are probably the most well-to-do establishment in the entire town. So those are like your three options for going high-end. Which of those do you think you'd want to approach? Brad.
I'd probably try the nobleman first.
Sure. So with part of that natural 20, it's easy for you to find out where everything is and how to get a hold of people and so on and so forth. And so they actually tell you like, oh, if you're actually looking to have a conversation with him, he usually takes over in the there's a portion of town, because like the quality of craftsmanship here happens to be really high. There's a small portion of town where instead of having like a garden or a park or anything like that, they actually have a few sculptures all in a line down one of the roads, and then the sculptures have like steel reinforcements and stuff like that as well, which are really nice. So it's just things that just really make it stand out in a beautiful area. And he always goes for a walk around this time of the day, around that time of the day, over in that area. And usually that's when people will come over and talk to him, and he's more than happy to like have exchanges with the common folk. He doesn't do this every day, but many days of the week. So he will be today, and you can totally go and meet up with him then. So since you're going to be meeting up with him in a couple hours' time, I'm actually going to pull the camera back from you and put it over towards Leonard, who is walking up to the guard barracks. Now, where the guard barracks is located in this town, Leonard, is actually pretty much at the heart of the town. That's because like how the town was originally built. It was built out like in layers, and so the guard barracks is inside one of the original areas, and all the original walls that were put up and kind of like knocked down were rebuilt around where the the guard barracks currently is. So kind of like walking up to like a low walled, maybe neck high, so it's not a crazy high wall, but it's enough to, it would definitely stop like a charging force around the building itself. The building itself is carved out of stone at its base, but has like placed stones and blocks and whatnot up above. When you go walking up to it, The guard station itself has 2 guards that are sitting out in the front, and they're actively playing a game of cards. You can hear more noise as you're walking around the building to get to the front area. You can hear more noise of other guards inside having conversations and whatnot. And then out back, you can actually see that there were 2 that were sparring with a 3rd that was overlooking them. All in all, you definitely can pinpoint a dozen or more guards, meaning this place actually is decently well equipped. So anyways, how do you approach Leonard?
Are the two guys playing cards outside playing Gwent?
When you go around and look, it looks like they are.
Do they have an open seat at that table?
So you go walking up to them, you kind of look it over. Roll me an insight check.
Here we go, boys!
Fucking kidding me? No, this cannot be a thing. This is the worst. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I can't believe this is happening.
It's great.
I'm checking to see if they're playing Gwent. It's not the end of the world, really.
Okay, but it's more than that. You walk over, because of your natty 20, because of how high you rolled, it's more than that. So you walk over, and you don't see just them playing Gwent. You're actually able to look over. You can clearly tell who's winning the game. But despite who's winning the game, the person that's actually winning, you can just read it on him. They're super, super, super nervous. Like you're looking at this. The game has gone to, like, the other guy only has enough coin on the table to handle maybe 2 hands or so. But the one that's winning looks like super nervous, but the one that's losing is so frustrated by the fact that he's losing, can't really get a good bead on the one that's winning, right? So so as you go walking up, and you more or less like ask, however it is you phrase it, to have another seat, and I'll have you do that in a moment. The 2 of them look at you, like the one that was super nervous before, he's kind of like there's like a pause, like he wouldn't necessarily want to have you there. But the other one is like, yeah, come in, sit down, please, change the luck. But so anyways, how do you approach it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll come sit down at the tables, hang out.
Cool. And again, that is like, oh yeah, change the luck. And he actually uses his foot to kick the chair out, and it kind of like almost rocks over, but kicks the chair out for you to take the seat.
All right, I'll just grab it, sit down in it, scoot up, and be like, "You really think a Witcher can change the luck of this hand?"
He goes, "Well, I figure if there's anyone who's got dealt a shitty hand in life, it's you. So maybe you'll take all the bad luck at the table."
I would be offended by that, but I choose not to be.
So he grabs the cards and starts like dealing out.
Oh, the game's over. The first game's over. They're dealing me in Gwent.
Well, I've never actually played Gwent before, and I was supposed to this past Saturday, but I totally hung out with Wade instead and played some ESL. So I'm gonna have to learn Gwent sometime this week.
Gwent is
I downloaded it, but I haven't played it.
Can you play 3-player Gwent?
No, it's like a one-on-one, like Hearthstone.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so
just roll a d20 to see how well you do. It's fine.
So he actually will the one that was losing before will actually sit there and give for you 2 to play, because I actually think it's kind of like you say Hearthstone, I think Magic the Gathering, you bring your own deck of cards, like you build your own deck sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, you
so he's gonna let me take over for him?
Yeah, well, you sit down, and he's gonna, like, the one that's losing is gonna kind of play the first hand with you, and then you can tell, like, in his eyes, he intends to sick you on the one that's winning, like revenge. So yeah, the way we're gonna handle it, just because it's a simple mechanic in 5e, is you're actually gonna roll a gamble check. Now that is not something that you have a skill for, is it? No, you have herbalism and tools. So I'm gonna write on here Gwent onto your sheet. What do you think is the most appropriate attribute? Do you think is the most appropriate attribute for playing Gwent? Do you think
luck?
Well, yeah. Do you think it relies on intelligence, wisdom? So like how smart you play your cards, how well you react to the way they play theirs, or charisma, just your ability to bluff and whatnot?
I'd say intelligence, because it's mostly just doing quick math in your head. That's really all it is.
Okay, and then there's
Strength
also
to flip the table when you're losing.
as I said, there's also dexterity if you're doing things like
Oof, I'm cheating.
Yeah, exactly, cheating, dealing from under the deck, sort of a thing.
On a guard?
Just saying, just saying. But there's no Constitution. There is no Constitution in Gwent. Nope.
No.
Unless it's like a
Playing
Gwent
cards
drinking
isn't
game.
healthy.
All right, so you are. I put it onto your character sheet for you to make it a little easier.
To see if you can lift the card.
Can I start off with intelligence and then if I roll poorly, try to cheat it?
Yeah, you can. You can always transition it. So,
Okay.
So why don't you roll your first roll and see how it goes?
Where the fuck did you put this? I'm sorry.
Oh, on your character sheet, left-hand side, most of the way down, right by herbalism and thieves' tools. And actually, sorry, I gave you proficiency in it. You're not proficient. Take that away.
Shit.
Wait, why won't it take away proficiency? It won't let me not be proficient in it. That's annoying.
Try deleting it, putting it back.
No. It doesn't give you the option to not be proficient. So I'm going to apply a miscellaneous -2 modifier and see if that applies.
God damn it.
It does.
GM bullying.
There you go.
You're bullying me. All right.
You're just going to roll natty 20 anyways.
Here we go.
Okay.
Ah.
It was a 20 total, which is still ridiculous for not a natty 20.
Unnatural.
This game.
All right, so you sit down and you immediately start playing the game with him, and it goes on for a little bit. I know it's more than one hand; it's several hands or whatever that you do back and forth. But eventually, honestly, you just end up crushing this guy. It's the last of the coin that he has on the table you take, and so you're actually going to win 4 crowns from doing this.
Oh shit.
But the other person,
my only gold.
The other person, roll me an insight check, but you're actually going to get to have advantage on this because of prior rolls.
Who, me?
Yes.
Roll an insight.
Please, an insight with advantage.
With advantage?
Please.
I always forget where insight is. There it is.
Okay. So with the other roll,
I haven't had a roll below 20 yet.
So the other guard, the one that was clearly crushing it, starts to be like, all right, well, I should get back to my my duties while you're finishing up this hand over here. I should get back to my duties, got to do my work. He starts like sweeping that big juicy pool of coin off of the table.
Whoa. Well, what do you think you're doing?
You can clearly tell he's trying to get away. He's trying to like walk away with his little pot.
Thought you were weren't you in a hand before? Weren't you I thought you had some of that money was on the table there. I thought that was is that all yours? Did you win all that?
Oh yeah, he does. He owes a few more hands. I mean, you were just kind of stepping in, right? And he like gives you like an elbow. You just kind of stepping in, right? You he's gonna play a few hands. Give him an opportunity. Look, he's good at the card game. You don't want to feel like you didn't earn it, did you? To the other guard, and the other guard's like, oh. And so there's like this little bickering back and forth between them. But eventually the guard kind of caves and will stay. But he's like not happy about it.
You didn't want to play cards, huh? Okay.
It's one of those like he's happy with the pot that he won, but he doesn't want to go. So, but he doesn't want to lose it. So after you kind of finish up with the first guy, the other guard starts, grabbing his deck, getting it prepared and whatnot, and pushes forward. He's going to start with his first bet. And what you were betting beforehand was pretty low in coin because, the other guy didn't have very much. So you're doing like 1 or 2 coins at a time, went back and forth, but then you ended up taking it all. Looking at what you were playing with beforehand, you might have like, say, 12 coins out on the table. He just goes and throws 12 coins on the table. Like more or less try to take you out in one hand.
Okay. Maybe we can make this bet a little bit more interesting.
Oh?
If I win, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to get me a meeting with whoever's in charge around here. That's all.
He says, all right, no problem. And says,
cool. Probably didn't need to bet money on that one.
he just says, no problem. Sure, no problem. And you can tell, like, again, with your 2 insight checks, he seems a little off, but he's ready to play the game. And so the 2 of you guys start handing out your cards, and you can roll me your Gwent's check.
Bet you things are gonna go my way here, huh? All right. Oh, that's with advantage. My bad.
Wow, Eric did.
Wow, you Eric it.
How could I?
Ha!
Oh,
So
man.
so you pull the deck of cards. So you get your deck, you start handing it, and you just get the worst hand. And he plays amazing. He has like the perfect hand. He's like and it blows your mind. Like you're just like, how the fuck did that happen? He literally had every card that he needed to triumph over mine. He had perfectly in place. And because he does so, that kind of gets you thinking. And
Yeah.
so he's like, he grabs the cards and immediately, he grabs the coin and everything, immediately starts like sweeping off the table. He's like, all right, well, there's the hands, you know, I guess that was that. And takes your 12 coin and starts going to leave.
Oh, that was fast.
Does his passive perception pick up on anything weird?
Not yet, because, you know, he's just playing the game before.
So did he leave anything on the table? He's just like grabbing the coin, trying to leave.
He's grabbing the coin currently and trying to leave. You can try to sucker him back into another game.
I don't have any more coin. Tell you what. I'm gonna shit. God damn it. I'm gonna put my my medallion on the table.
Oh. Woo.
Ooh!
50 coin buys you in.
He looks down at that, looks at the other guy, and you can see his weighing in his mind. And he's like, all right. And he sits back down. And he counts out 50 coin. But he does it like deliberately slowly. And you can be like, and you're like, ooh, So the other guy's like, ooh, oh, this is going to be a good one. He's like, you're going to be the Witcher, you know, you're going to be the Witcher of the guard. And like, it's kind of messing with the guy and everything. So anyways, he pulls up
I'm
the
gonna
50
make
coin.
a big scene out of it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna like address anyone who's nearby, and be like, "You want to see the highest stakes Gwent game of the year? Come watch. Come participate." Try to get a crowd coming.
Okay. And so roll a persuasion check to kind of get the crowd in.
I mean, I don't think I'm very good at persuasion.
No, you actually are able to get a couple of people to come over and watch. You know, which you're playing against one of the guards. This could be an interesting match. So, the couple of people start coming over.
Cool. Then we'll play.
Okay, and so you start grabbing your deck, maybe reshuffle it to make sure it's best situated, like really reshuffling it for a while, and then you start playing your cards.
I'm actually, when I shuffle it, I'm gonna try to use sleight of hand and stack it a little bit.
Sure. You can roll me exactly. So the way that you're going to do this, because sleight of hand's a normal check, you can roll me your Gwent's check with dexterity, and so what you can do is you can just modify that to be dex instead.
Sure. Oops, I just clicked it instead of...
Yeah, no.
How do you change it? Where's it? Oh, I have to unlock it. Yeah, okay. Wait, do I? No. How do I do this? Daelric!
You press the little wheel, and you press the button that says intelligence, and then you press the button that says
there it is,
dexterity. Yep, there you go.
Do I take off the -2 modifier?
Nope, because you're not proficient, and unfortunately it doesn't let you be not proficient. Shrink it
I'm
back
proficient,
up,
I'm proficient in Dex.
but you're not proficient in Gwent, which is
Oh,
a
I
separate,
see, okay.
yeah, it's a tool. Speaking of tools, sorry, I'll get to you soon, Bastion.
What is Jack of all trades? Anyway.
It's a bard thing. All right, let's see how it goes. Ooh, a much, much, much better roll.
Really
So you
needed
actually end up stacking the deck to be way more in your favor. But despite that, you start seeing him once again throwing down like the perfect counter cards. Like this guy must have a shamrock buried up his ass, because he just seems to have, if not the perfect card to counter, damn near close enough. And so he is just play by play as you get working through your hands, just able to overcome your anything that you're able to put out. But while he's doing that, and obviously you're like, I'm cheating. How is this even possible? You know, it's like maybe because it's projection. You start looking to see if he's cheating as well, and your passive perception is like an 18, right? So you actually realize he is in fact cheating. You see that he actually has a couple of cards that he has stored away just underneath the bracers of his armor, and he's kind of like, as he goes to pull like a card from his hand, he's actually pulling it from inside there. And honestly, the guy's wearing leather gloves. He's doing it some pretty serious deft, you know, to be able to pull that out and put it on the table, and nobody, including yourself, had noticed until just now.
Trying to think of. Okay.
Stab him.
Is there any way I could like? Is there like any like beer on the table or something, like anything else on the table I can use?
So there was on the table. There was obviously the coins that you guys had pulled out. There were the cards that you guys have. I imagine a couple of other items as well. No weapons or anything like that.
Okay.
Maybe one of you guys had like a water skin or a flask or something like that that you put on there.
I'm gonna right before he goes to play one of his cards that I see him going for his sleeve. I'm gonna bang down on the table near the coins and like try to knock a few off the table on accident.
Okay.
An accident.
Sure. And
That was a little distraction.
Yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden, so he bangs on the table. Oh no, he bangs on the table and tries to do that. And as he does so, he actually will pull out by accident pulls out one of the cards so that it goes flying down on the ground. And it's one of those things where it goes flying down on the ground, but just by chance, the card, as it flies down, it like sails across, like wind catches it just enough. It sails across and it lands perfectly under your chair, almost as though it looked like it just fell out of your sleeve, or maybe out of where you were hiding it. And somebody like a couple seconds later on goes, "Hey, what's that?" and points at the card that's
fucking party fumble,
like underneath the chair, and like leans down and picks it up, and you see like an amazing card right there sitting underneath your chair, like you had just dropped it. And so all of a sudden the people are like, "He's cheating! Look at him, he's cheating!" And so like people are like, "Hey, you can't cheat like that!" And it's one of those things where the other guard's like, "Are you kidding me?" The one that literally was just about to be caught, he's like, "You're cheating against me? You're cheating against me and still you lose? Witcher, not only are you a low person, but you just suck." And so he starts like grabbing up the coin. And he's like, "I should have your hand for that, but I'm gonna let it go this time. You're lucky you didn't fuck with the wrong person." And you know, he starts like grabbing up the coin and grabs the medallion itself. And he looks at it and he looks at you and he's like, "I don't even know if I want this. Disgust me." And then he throws that inside the coin purse too, the Witcher medallion, and starts turning to walk inside the barracks. And the people around you are starting to like get all rowdy and whatnot, and it's really starting to build up where the other guard, so he kind of gets up and walks away immediately, just trying to remove himself from the scenario. But the other guard is standing there and just watching him walk off. And then he turns back to you and he's like, "What was that?"
Some bad luck.
He's like, "You're supposed to whoop his ass, and you cheated." Like, that's just disgusting. He's like, I should whoop your ass for that, boy.
So the way Gwent works, Daelric, is you have classes, sort of. You have like king cards that you use, and the king cards that you use are for different regions of the world.
Mm-hmm.
In the different regions, you can't mix regions. So if you're playing a Nilfgaardian deck, then it has to be all Nilfgaardian cards.
Sure.
So were we both using the same region of deck?
I would say yes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You are. You're pretty far to the south, and you yourself are Nilfgaardian, so I imagine both of you guys were using that sort of a deck.
Sure.
So, but you probably have more than one deck, right? Just like in Magic, you have more than one deck.
Probably.
You have your magma
Yeah,
build. I think that's a thing. and you have your
Can I keep the card?
fire and ice build. Yeah, nobody tries to take it from you.
Fantastic.
So actually, as a matter of fact, it is such a good card for whatever it is that I have no idea. It is such a good card that you actually are able to gain a +1 when you're using this deck in the future.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.
So
So I'm not at -2. I'm at -1.
but you did lose your Witcher medallion, and
Yeah.
are known as a cheater at the moment, and this card is currently threatening you a little bit.
I'm gonna keep it. I don't know what else to do at this point. I might as well get something out of it. All right.
So yeah, he what is it? It's so funny. I was supposed to play this last week, and literally this weekend, just in case the scenario came up, but I ended up hanging out with Wade instead. You guys take another Witcher sense, just so you know. So or two more. So the guard is standing there, and he's just looking pissed at you, and he's thinking about just like swinging.
This is the one that was
losing, that was being cheated too, and tried to pull you into the game, and now he's just like disgusted with the fact that you were cheating.
Do you really think that man's deck was so good that you and I couldn't beat him? When risk got high, it always seemed he had the best hand, didn't it?
And he looks a little upset. He's like, "What you getting at?"
I'm gonna show him the card and be like, "I've never seen this card in my life. This thing's awesome."
Roll me a persuasion check.
Sure. With disadvantage?
You know what? You can take that +1 from holding that card, but not advantage.
Persuasion, you said?
Mm-hmm. By the way, it was a total of 3 Witcher sense. Ooh, so it's effectively an 18 because it gave you a +1 for holding that card.
Right, that's right, yeah.
And so he's like looking at the card, and he's looking at you, and he looks like he either just smelt or tasted shit. He has that kind of like the scrunched up look on his face. Like he looks pissed off, and he looks down at the card again, then looks back up at you, and he's like, "Fuck!"
You've seen it, haven't you? You've probably seen this card.
He's like, "Yeah, 4 times, 4 times before you showed up."
Did he do this to anyone else or just you?
He's been winning all week.
Tell you what, why don't you go get everyone that's lost to him and we'll go pay him a visit?
I'm going to require another persuasion check because this is like a bit of an escalation. But I'm actually going to give you advantage on this one because he's leaning into it.
Awesome. Persuasion. That's this one.
He like listens to you and he's like nodding. He's like, "Yeah, meet me back here in 2 hours." And he starts walking off.
All right.
And Bran, you make your way over to where the noble is starting to walk through town. You can see he's just starting to take his walk in. And one of the things that you notice as you clearly see who they are, and they have longer, probably about actually the length of Dunce's hair, longer brown hair. It is perfectly kept. It is perfectly brushed. The way that it falls is like a little bit falls in the front. Most of it drapes down his back. He has very colorful robes and whatnot. You know, it's a bit cool right now, right? What time of day? Yeah, it's a bit cool right now. So he has a cloak draping over his shoulders and down as well. So the cloak even drags on the ground a couple inches behind him because, you know, he has the wealth. He's not worried about that sort of stuff, right? So as you're like walking up and seeing this man that's over there, you did get his name on the way, by the way. So as you see his name, as you're walking up to see him, you actually look at the different statues that are laid on the side of the road that are put there. Some of them are literally like erect statues that might be on a bit of a pedestal. Some are just standing there on the ground. Some of them are actually like say a woman that's kind of like sprawled out on the ground. You know, there's all sorts of different statues, but they're not like all human. Actually, more often than not, if it's something depicting a person, it's a dwarf. But either way, they are incredible and very, very, very lifelike. So when you are walking over to meet with the gentleman, his name, and this is what you're supposed to refer to him as, is Lord Taviston.
Okay.
That's what he wants to be referred to because he is the person that runs the town. Is he technically a lord? Who gives a shit? That's what he wants to be referred to as, and you're trying to suckle his favor. So he is, as you go making your way over to the gentleman, how do you approach?
I take my hood off to be more open, and I just walk up to him and it's like, "Greetings, Lord Taviston. Might I have a moment of your time?"
So he looks over in your direction, and he's like, "Yes, yes."
Excellent.
Please, walk
I
with me.
believe, of course. I believe I have a proposition that you might find most interesting. I travel with a duo of witchers, and of course you are fully aware that there's currently a massive town-wide bet going on.
Excuse me. You travel with a trio of witchers?
A duo.
A duo of
witchers.
witchers, making you a trio in total.
Correct.
That's a strange group of people if I've ever heard one. Witchers don't usually travel side by side. Do they?
Not normally, but circumstance does lead to some unusual situations at times.
It's like, all right. And they're traveling side by side with you. What makes you so special?
He pauses for a moment and then looks him dead in the eye. I'm going to invoke Heart of Darkness again.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And so, like, it's one of those things, like, you like kind of like stop for a second, and so you get his attention, and he looks at you, and so it's one of those things where he kind of like looks into you, and he's like, "Huh, I get it. A tortured soul you are. I guess you would be a bit of a bad luck charm for most, but a good luck charm for a witcher's purse. Very well. And so you're looking to garner my favor."
It has come to my attention that you have until now abstained from the festivities going on in town. But I figured that our group might have the most reasonable chance of successfully returning from this endeavor. Therefore, seeing how you have abstained so far, I think we might be able to come to an agreeable deal that benefits the both of us.
Well, I don't like the idea of losing. I would need to meet the other two before we went ahead with this. But you're coming to me for a reason. You're looking for more than just admittance into the pots. Traveling with two witchers, you can clearly get anybody to sign on. Any dog chasing around trying to lap up the treats that you're dropping. You came to me for a reason. What is it that you want that I can offer that the others cannot?
My companions wish to earn money from this. Or they're also on the lookout for someone who potentially might be able to provide high quality gear to be able to successfully pull this endeavor off.
You're expecting your winnings in the upfront in the hopes that you actually succeed.
It would be unreasonable to expect you to pay all up front.
Oh, to some degree anyways. Is there anything that you had in mind?
He pauses for a moment. I think our group would mostly do with a decent amount of crowns.
So it is just gold then. Very well. Let me meet these other witchers. These two. I want to confirm that they are what you say they are, and not just fools.
Understandable. I will gather them for you. Do you have a place where you wish to convene again?
He looks about. We can meet back here tomorrow.
All right then.
And so he walks off. And so now it's going to be Leonard. A couple hours later, you come walking back, and the three. So you see a few other guards have gathered together in the same spot. And as you come walking around the corner, one of the guards actually says to you, hey, says to the other guard, like, so as you're approaching, you can hear, she's super keen, one of the guards saying to the others, hey, isn't that the one that just got caught cheating earlier? And the other one's like, no, you don't understand. The other guard was cheating too. And he's like, so what, they were cheating on each other? No, you idiot, it's not about that. It's that he was cheating to us. Oh, yeah, like who cares if he was getting cheated? We got cheated.
Did I hear all this?
Yeah! And it's like, kind of like re-riles them up a little bit.
Gentlemen, I humbly only cheat against those who cheat against me. I was playing completely fair until that last hand, but it didn't matter. You won anyway.
You know, that's actually kind of a bluff check because you totally did try to cheat just for funsies, and then found out he was cheating.
I mean, all right.
You were assuming out of game context. You were assuming, so I'm willing to give you advantage on the bluff.
Which is that?
Sorry, deception. Bluff is a
okay.
3rd edition rule thing.
Deception. That starts with a D. Hell yeah.
Ooh. And they gobble it up. They like, oh, can I have another plate of bullshit, please? And
Hey, sir, may I have some more?
And so they stand there, they listen to you, they go, yeah, no, it seems about right. One of them's like, I heard a Witcher was an honorable sort. The others look at him like,
very honorable. Very. Us Witchers only work for 2 things: money.
They wait.
That's it.
So
and the pride of the hunt, something like that.
So the lead one though that you were speaking to beforehand, the one that called you into the card game, is like, all right, I'm gonna go get him, and we're gonna have a chat. Give me a second. And he goes walking into the barracks, what? And the okay. Calls got to come back. Oh, you can stop him, please.
I was gonna have us go in as like a mob.
They stop for a second.
Whatever, I'll just let him.
No, that's fine. So you can actually say, well, hold on. I was thinking we should go in there together, right?
I was thinking we all confront him at once. That way none of us get turned against. I don't know how to pronounce it, how to state it. Hold on. That way none of us can back out and try to make off with the winnings.
No one can cut a deal.
Yeah, cut a deal.
So they, the guards are like, yeah, no, that's a good idea. Let's go in together. And so they start walking in there with you. Do you try to lead the mob?
No, I'll let the mob do what the mob wants.
So you can kind of like second or third one in, but definitely not the first?
Yeah, not the first.
Okay. So as you go walking in towards the into the barracks door opens up, and then a bunch of you guys go walking in, and one of them just calls out. He's like, "Hey, Frank, get over here!" and starts heading over towards the area. And the guy's like, "What?" And they go walking up, and then it's just like immediately turns into a scream match. Like, "Ah, you cheating fuck!" And the other one's like, "Oh, I don't know what you're plowing talking about." And they go arguing back and forth for a little while. Now, could you do me a favor, sir, and just roll me a perception and an insight?
Perception and insight.
I always knew Frank was a lying, cheating bastard.
Insight and perception.
So as they're sitting there, they're having their argument, and more or less like they're very much turning on him, and it's getting like they're roughing him up a little bit. Not like they're whacking him or anything yet, but just giving him shoves and like screaming at him. You're just kind of like, because you're mildly interested. Like this is somewhat entertaining, and you kind of got screwed out of things that matter to you. But you're taking in the sights around you, and you see that there are other guards involved too that are like watching the goings on, or maybe giving their bit of opinion, and there's a bit more shoving and whatnot happening. You can see that the place is actually kind of on the brink of there being like an all-out brawl that you may or may not want to be in the middle of. But most importantly, as they were fighting and whatnot, their attention has been pulled away from pretty much everything else. And you look over and you can clearly see at the foot of the bed that the guy was just standing next to, the barracks bed that the guy was standing next to, there was a trunk that's sitting there. The lock isn't on it. It's actually like kind of like hanging off of it nearby, hanging off like the handle nearby. But the trunk is sitting there at the foot of the bed. You don't think anybody's watching.
I'm assuming my bag's in there.
Mm-hmm. You don't see it on his person.
Okay, then I'm just gonna go like kind of lift it up with my foot and peek inside.
Sure. So you're gonna do me a sleight of hands check. You don't have advantage.
That's fine.
So you go lifting it up with your foot to see inside, and as you lift it up with your foot, you're actually able to see that yes, right at the top of the trunk is your coin purse right there. Don't forget, by the way, you can use things like Witcher senses to add to those die rolls. Would you like to, or are you good?
I actually want to make
D6.
a big scene out of it.
Okay, sure. So, so the as you go to open it up, you see that there's the bag right at the top there, and you're able to see that his other belongings in there too. So right as you go to open it up, all of a sudden somebody's like, "Hey, you!" And it goes over and actually also gives you a shove as well, because they were not a part of the original mob. But it's also like the whole entire room is like bursting with like about to break. There's so much tension, it's about to break up to a fight, and it gives you like a push as well, which makes your foot kind of like drop the chest at the moment.
Sure.
And he's like, "Who the fuck do you think you are going in a guard's chest?"
What else did I see in there? I saw the bag on top, but can I make out anything else?
Yeah, you also saw there's like a sword that was lying across the top. There is a couple of clothing items that are packed up. A couple of other things that seemed to be like wrapped up in almost like burlap, but you couldn't make out what they were. It had like hard corners to it. And nothing else that really stands out because, it's a chest. So it's like things are piled on top.
Okay, so it's mostly personal belongings?
Yeah, you think so? You'd have to rifle through it to see if there's anything else of value.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's a guard in my face. What did he say again? He said, "What am I doing? What the fuck am I doing?"
Who the fuck do you think you are going in a guard's chest?
I'm a Witcher, and I was cheated out of my medallion. And I'm gonna point to the guy who's like getting all roughed up in the middle. That's like in the middle of all this action. Who's the guy that took my medallion?
Yep.
I'll be like, "He's the one you want. He's the one who's been taking everyone's stuff for months."
All that's true. I'll allow you to roll a persuasion with advantage.
Fair enough.
It's funny that 17 was a 1 for a second. I thought this was gonna be really.
I was like, no.
1 and a 3. That could have been fun. So anyways, again, you're fine with not using Witcher sense. I'm not going to ask you every time.
No,
it's just
that's fine,
okay, cool.
fine, yeah.
So he's like looking at you and he's like, so your medallion, it's in there?
Along with all the rest of our companions' things, I'm sure of it. Help me check.
So he's like, he like gives you like a look to back off a step.
Okay.
You like take that step back.
I'll be like, you take a look.
And so he opens up the chest and he grabs the thing. And as soon as he opens up the bag, the first thing you see, it is full of coin. The first thing you see is there is the medallion that's right there. And now that he's looking at the sack and it's full of coin, and he sees like 2 other sacks that are like tucked in behind in the back part that you couldn't really see because of like all the personal belongings that were in the way. He pulls those up. Those are full of coin too. I mean, you don't know the way that everything in the world works, right? But it's one of those things where you're like, that's probably a couple years salary for a guard, right? And then the guy looks over and he grabs like one of the burlap things, and he goes to, because at first he's like, oh, is this another thing of coin? And he goes to pull, and like I said, it has those hard edges to it. And so he grabs the thing and he pulls it out, and what you actually see behind it is actually a plaque. It's like a commemorative plaque to one of the other guards here for like a service that they did during the war. And like there's all sorts of other things, and you can see like while the plaques there, the part they had, because the plaques they were given out to very few people for like these incredible services they did during the war. It was like the part that has the name on it is etched in, but it's kind of like a lighter etch, and you're like, oh my god, this guy could totally like have that redone to have his name. But as the guy starts rifling through, he starts seeing other things that are personal belongings, sure, but other people's personal belongings. And you can just see just like the level of like ire that rises in him. And he calls like another guard over, and he hands the guard like something that belongs to him, who calls another 2 guards over, and then the people that were getting kind of riled up before now get joined by them. And even though like the medallion kind of gets like shoved at you, you can start seeing daggers are coming out and stuff like that. Like this place is about to explode. What do you do?
I'm gonna quickly like grab the shoulder of a guard and like pull him to me. I'm gonna be like, hey, do you know like what the reward is for like a basilisk or something?
What?
There's basilisks in the town. I just need to know how much gold the reward is for it.
I don't fucking know. And like you see, he's grabbing like his jack or billy club, whatever you want to call it, or sap, and starting to push his way. And he's like, "Hey, fuck this guy!" And he takes like the first swing, and as he swings, he like just barely like nicks his forehead, just enough to like leave like a little red mark, but not actually injure him. And then like it's like really shouting in there, and like now it's starting to break out into fisticuffs and shit like that. And once again, the chest is lying open. All the guards are screaming and piling into. It's not like this place is huge and open.
Yeah.
They're all screaming and piling into this one corner.
Big ass riot.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, I'm gonna I was just figuring I would ask about the info before I decided to fuck the whole thing up. So I'm gonna grab a big sack of coins.
Sure.
I'm just gonna cut the bottom of it and start throwing it into the argument at the people fighting.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be like, last one standing is gonna make a fortune. I'm gonna keep throwing stuff like around, just like spreading it around, just trying to cause as much chaos as possible.
Oh God. Well, it really picks up. Like the amount, like I mean, they're just fucking going at it. They are going crazy. At this point, does your character want to do anything else in here, or are you just like gonna turn and walk away?
No, he's just gonna cause chaos, grab the medallion, and just slip out.
Sure. And do you try to take back any of your coin as well, or you just?
Yeah, I'll take like a few handfuls, whatever I can just stuff in my pockets real quick on my way out.
Sure. Why don't you roll me?
Attention.
Yeah. Why don't you roll me 5d6?
5d6.
Yeah. Okay, 14 coin. And
okay.
So you actually walk away a little bit richer than you were before you went in. So as you go walking out and you're making your way out there, you can actually see like you literally walk out of the establishment. And as you're like, you finish putting the coin in your pocket as you are getting towards the door, you're putting the medallion back on your neck as you walk out the front door itself. And there's a horse that is pulling up right there. And you can clearly tell by like the type of armor that they're wearing, the clothing that they're wearing and whatnot. This person in front of you is very obviously the captain of the guard. And, and he swings his foot over the horse and lands on the ground. And he looks at you like, what the fuck?
A new challenger.
The final boss has appeared.
He looks at you like,
this isn't even his final form.
Are you doing inside the barracks? And then he hears the raw chaos that's going on in there. And then he just like looks at you, looks at the building, looks at you, looks at the building, and starts walking into the building. And
yeah, I'll just like inspect my medallion. I'll be like, hey man, you should probably head in there. Start walking away.
And so you walk away and you can hear he is just his booming voice is just screaming at everything, and there's like lots of yells and fighting, and oh my God, you more or less set the building on fire and let it burn as you walk away. You know? All right. Well, that went differently. Why don't we take our first break, and when we come back, we're gonna have the party meeting up with the noble. To see
Lord Taviston.
Yes, to see what he has to offer you guys. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Everybody go do what you gotta do. Bye.